Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hey, JV Crum III. Welcome back to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here. You have been I believe, at least a 3-time guest here. You're
So it's a triple win. Oh my gosh.
Triple win. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. I feel honored. And I just want to say a word to everybody who's listening. First of all, if you're listening to Savvy, tells me you're a pretty smart person because you're listening to the right stuff. And also, I want you to know I'm here to deliver and inspire you because I believe you truly are limitless in the impact you can make, in the money you can make, and in the life you can live. And I hope to inspire you and provide you a pathway to getting there.
Yes, I know you will. And you're on course this year to be the most expansive and help entrepreneurs and people grow to the most expansive, limitless potential that they can. You're creating a wonderful seminar, Mindset to Millions, which will help people break that gap they think they have. There shouldn't be a cap.
Well, yes, because most people are living inside a box of beliefs about what actually can happen. A box in terms of their identity about who they are. So they've got a whole bunch of things like, oh no, I can't call that person, or I can't play in that way, or I could never grow. I was just doing my training, First Million Masterclass, which we would love to invite people to yesterday. And I was talking to people about write down, this is what I told them. I'm going to give you the same exercise if you're listening. And we'll talk about sales, but it could apply to profits. It could apply to impact and apply to anything. And I said, write down how much sales you plan to make, your target goal for the next 30 days.
Okay.
And I said, go ahead and write it down. You know, what you came to this masterclass with. And then I told them, I said, I want you to 10 times it.
Whoa.
10 times it. Right. And of course, there's that internal panic part. And, you know, I just want to give one piece of what I'm training on the First Million Masterclass that you see how powerful this is. So then I said, well, what must you believe? Must, not want, not need, but what must you believe so that you can 10 times your profit, whatever that number is for you, 10 times your sales, whatever that number is for you, in the next 30 days. So achieve X in Y time. And I said, start writing down what you must believe. And then I gave some examples. I said, you must believe that there are enough clients out there who could buy from you. You must believe that the clients can buy at the price points you want. You must believe that you can contact them in some way, right? So you have, once you start unraveling what you must believe, what you really start to have is a game plan. And then, of course, I'm going to ask you, if you're listening today, the same question. Do you believe there are people, and let's just say maybe your target was 5,000 or 10,000 or 25 or 50,000. So now it's going to be 500,000. Let's take that upper roll, right? Do you believe there are people on this planet right now that in the next 30 days are going to bring in $500,000 in sales?
Yeah.
There are lots of them. And you even know some names. Mark Zuckerberg he can do that in a minute, right? So, and you know of people who are doing that level of 6 million in a year. There are a lot of companies doing that level. So you know that there are people who not only believe it, but now you start to have examples. So now it starts to become real. So now it's no longer, oh, I want this or desire this, because I go, people, there's 3 levels. The first is, I'm interested.
Yeah.
I've noticed that people because I deal in the world of let's make your first million and then let's make millions more. But let's do it, get rich by changing the world. So I've noticed that people who are interested, they tell me, oh, you know, I'm interested in being a millionaire. I've never seen a single one of them become a millionaire. Okay. I don't see them get any of their goals. So no, I'm kind of interested in losing weight. Yeah. Okay. You meet them a year later and they haven't lost a pound. I go, yeah, because interest does. Okay. So now we know interest just doesn't work. Then there's the group that goes, I want to get to this goal. And they're sincere and they're passionate. Well, at the end of a year, I ask you, if that's where you're living from,
Yeah.
to add up all the goals. Did you get 100% of them? No. Did you get 50% of them? Probably not. If you were doing great, you might have gotten 25% of them, but it's probably less. So this want to get to goals stuff doesn't seem to work too well either. Here's what I have found works, and it works incredibly well. Commitment. But you don't commit to goals. You want goals. You commit to results. Okay. So if you want to lose 10 pounds and you get committed to it, now you start asking yourself, well, what must I believe? Oh, I must believe I can figure out which food to eat and which food not to eat, folks. That has going to have a lot to do with losing that 10 pounds. I can figure out which exercises are best for me. I can figure out how much water I need. You know, I can figure out a lot of things. I can figure out what I must believe, which of course will lead to actions. But what must I believe becomes a critical question because I'm committed. So it's not like you're going, oh, but maybe this excuse comes along. And it seems so good. It's such a good excuse. I mean, the fire alarm went off in my condo and I didn't sleep enough last night. So I've got to have a honey bun this morning. Oh, yeah. Well, if you want to lose 10 pounds, that might be allowable. That excuse might be okay because that's what happens. But when you're committed, you go, no, that won't work. Right? That won't work. Well, the same thing happens with money. The same thing happens with relationships. Same thing happens with every part of your life. People who get committed, 100% committed, achieve their results over and over and over again at a very high level.
Yeah, I love that you say this, JV, because my mentor had said it's this mindset of burning the ship. It's like there's no way to get out. It's either go forward or die. And when you have that attitude, like this year, my goal was to lose 45 pounds and then keep on all the way to my end result, which is 60. But now it's more about getting strength. Bottom line, I was heading towards diabetes. Don't like that outcome. Not a good outcome. I'm saying that outcome is not allowed in my universe. It's not going to happen. Boom, the end. Well, I said, what needs to happen for me to get to that goal? We're dropping all sugar. We're dropping all bread. Boom. Once I made that decision, I burned the bridge, burned the ships. It was no other option.
So you turned the goal into a committed result.
Exactly.
And what happened?
45 pounds down.
Congratulations. And you just demonstrated the difference between wanting a goal and committing to a result.
Well, get this, JV, get this. I was 6 months in, I had this Whoop watch. And because I'm working out on a consistent, committed level, the watch has me down as an athlete. And I'm thinking, at first, I balked at the idea. I'm not an athlete. What are you talking about? But I started to be like, maybe I am an athlete. I started to warm up to that and be like,
So now you go through a change in your identity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you're saying here is so true to what others can do, both in their finances and in their business. A lot of people say, well, $1 million sounds like a lot. But to what? I mean, as compared to what? As you said, there are people making millions or billions, some even maybe companies making trillions. You know, at the end of the day, you just got hung up on it's a big number.
Well, it really depends on how important it is for you. And that comes down to the power of why. You know, a lot of times for you to get totally committed, there's got to be a big why for you to do that. Is this your mission on earth? In your case, you want to stay alive and you don't want to have diabetes.
Yep.
Right? You want to be here for a long time, but you don't want to be sick.
Yep. Sick. Yuck.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to have to prick your finger all the time or take medication. So you've said, okay, I'm willing to make whatever change, because that's really what you said. I'm willing to make whatever change because I'm committed to this outcome.
Yeah. And that's what it requires. You know, it's interesting because my mentor had said to me, you know, what is your initial goal? When I started with them, it was $100,000. But the minute, and it's interesting, tell me if this has happened for you. The minute you put that out there, you get kind of pushback from those you might know or whatever. Say, well, what do you think you are? $100,000 in the you know, and it's like, it's a number. And, but it's interesting. Share with me, why do you think people are threatened by number or success of others? What is that about?
Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you the truth because I love you. You might need to associate with some different people.
Yeah.
Because if the people are doing that, and I'm being sincere, I have gone through a number of cleansings in terms of my people that I hang out with. And right now it's just upgrading in a very fast way because I guess maybe 6 months ago, I started telling people that I plan to sell Conscious Millionaire for $50 million in 10 years. Now, full disclosure, we're a long ways away from that valuation, but that doesn't bother me because I've set enough big outcomes in my life. And I started getting pushback, but it was the opposite pushback. I started having people increasingly say, JV, why are you playing so small? Or why do you think it should take 10 years? Why can't you do it in 5? Now, that's the people I'm hanging out with, right?
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, I decided, okay, this is a sign. It's one more person I know who's telling me this. I'm just going to change it to 100 million. And do you know what happened the next day? Is that I started to realize there weren't that many things that had to shift. Number one, it was going to change how I scaled. So I started looking for different solutions and different ways to scale, right? And number two, the difference between selling this or any company for 50 million versus 100 million, when you start getting to that level, it has a lot to do with who buys the company, your acquirer, and what their reason is, because they're going to use it for ways that you might not be using it because they've got other ways to leverage what you have, and they may need the piece that you've gotten really good at, and they just want to duplicate that throughout their entire organization.
Gotcha.
Or they may want an entry point to the kind of people you've attracted, or they may want to take some of the technologies or the content that you have, and they want to spin it and use it in multiple ways. So they have different reasons for wanting to own your company than you do. Literally, that I realized in that single day that the difference between selling this company for 50 million or 100 million could literally be who the acquirer was. And then I needed to research why people might want to buy a company like mine and what might make it unique or particularly valuable to one acquirer versus another, and then who they might be so that I start building relationships with them earlier.
You mentioned
all of that happened just from going from 50 to 100 million, and it happened in less than 24 hours. And where did it happen, folks? Inside my mind. That's where everything begins.
Yeah. Because now that you're coming from that strategy point, you're like, who do I connect with strategically that we could both help each other on that growth path to where you're talking about? But you wouldn't even considered $100 million people had you not had that shift inside your own mind.
Right. And I had not had the people I was hanging around with who pushed back and said, JV, you're playing too small. Now, I got to be honest. I was thinking I was playing big because I grew up in this little town of 200 or 300 people, little Aquabaja, Florida. Everybody was poor. At 5, I decided to be a millionaire literally because we couldn't even afford for me to. My parents, before we went in the grocery store, my mom would give me a little talk at 5 and say, don't ask for the candy bar. We can't afford it. No, this is a little kid. And I'm sitting around one day and I'm going, why are we broke? You know, my parents were smart. I was smart enough to figure out my parents were smart. So that wasn't the issue. But we were broke all the time. I mean, money was the source of all the fights and, oh, you can't spend that. You can't get, no, we can't afford that. You know, this was the whole, if you grew up in one of those households or, you know, that you had that kind of experience. And at 5, I'd already figured out, well, there's got to be another way. And as a little kid, you have a big imagination, right? And I said, well, what would solve this problem? That we'd have money for food and we wouldn't have fights about money and I could get a candy bar. I go, I know, I'll grow up and be a millionaire. And I took it seriously. And from that day forward, I never doubted it. At 25, I lived on the water in a brand new home in Florida where I had them even add 2 fireplaces during the construction. Because imagine you do not need fireplaces in Florida. And 4 stories, Mercedes, trips to Europe at age 25. Because at 5, I didn't want to be a millionaire. I made in a single moment a commitment that I would grow up and be a millionaire. I would not live this way because I wanted something different. And that's the commitment that works.
Yeah. It's the why at that moment, that pressing time.
And interestingly, the funny why was the inception of it was I wanted a candy bar. Yeah. So I was trying to solve the problem of how to get a candy bar. Well, I know if I had $1 million, I could.
That would never be a problem.
That would never be a problem. And then I was trying to how can I help my parents out? They're so stressed about money. I mean, I'd already learned that money was all about stress. Money was about anger because they'd have fights. Money was this horrible thing. And I wanted to take care of that horrible thing. So we didn't have that problem in our family. And then as I expanded my thoughts, the moment I became a millionaire, bought that home, moved into it 3 months later, I was looking out from my living room on the bay. And as I tell this, I can always remember I had palm trees in the front lawn and they were swaying in the wind. There were, sailing boats in the bay. And I said to myself, something's wrong with this picture. And I felt this deep emptiness inside. And here I had this beautiful home. And I said, I don't even like myself and I'm horrible at relationships. I just figured out how to make money. What's wrong? And it took me a while to figure it out. And that's why I created Conscious Millionaire. It came out of the wound of, I was that little boy. I was only told, what are you told in the press? What are you told even today? What are you told, in social media? If you just get the money, everything's going to be okay. And I had the good fortune of having just enough money, just early enough, and the insight that everything wasn't okay. Now, I said to myself, I want you to know, I did say, I'm not giving the house back. This is a better place to live, but there's something missing. And what was missing is I wasn't living my purpose. I wasn't living on purpose. And that's why at Conscious Millionaire, I teach people to reach inside, find that heart-based reason that you feel you're on the planet, and let's put it in your business. So your business and your heart-based purpose aren't separate, and that becomes your big why. Right?
Absolutely.
And it's my big why. I want to uplift and empower and transform entrepreneurs to play at their highest level, to make millions of dollars, and to do it changing the world in a positive way. And the reason that they're on the planet is that positive way.
See, I love that you say that. I've had plenty of friends who have said to me, well, I had this gift, but, I'm not supposed to make money from it. And there's this dirty little thing that making money from it is a bad thing. I'm like, what? My one friend wants to help people with health. She loves being in the arena of helping people understand fitness and health. But she's like, no, I don't want to do that for money, because that means for some reason, if I take money from them, I don't care about helping their health. I'm like, of course not. If you don't go out there and charge them, you don't give them the incentive to want to help themselves. Like, I hired a fitness coach. I'm grateful to him. I gladly pay him.
Right.
So because he's given me a valued service that makes my life better.
I actually came up with a name for this, and I wrote about it in my book, Conscious Millionaire, Grow Your Business by Making a Difference. I call it your money purpose wound. That you have this purpose, but you've got a wound that says you have to give it away for free. It's almost spiritual if you're broke.
Interesting.
But you couldn't charge somebody $100,000 for working with you to do something. Oh my gosh, that would be wrong. And it's this money purpose wound that people have who believe that using their gift is wrong to make money. And I go, folks, you just missed the whole point. Where the gift came from? God, the universe, from whence came the gift? It is a gift. I don't think gifts are accidental. I think there's a reason you have that gift. And I think that reason is to go out and help the world. And it's like God was saying, this is how you should go out and make money. I'm giving you this gift so that when you get into the planet, right, when you start growing up in the planet, that you can show up, you can use this gift, and you've got a way to have commerce. I'm giving it to you. And then people go, oh, no, that would be wrong. It's like, no, the number one thing you're good at would be wrong to make money from. You should go do something you don't like, bores you. You feel drained at the end of the day. You feel like you're living in a cardboard box because you won't do the number one thing that anyone on an aptitude test would say, oh, well, you're obviously good at this. Why don't you make money doing that? Right? And why don't you use it to solve a problem that other people have? Because that's the only reason they're going to buy it from you. right? They're not going to just come along and buy it. They need their problem solved, but you've got a gift for solving it. It's a perfect business model, and you already have it.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you say this, because there was a guy, Grant Cardone, who's built a tremendous business. And he said, people say, oh, money's bad, I should make a lot of money. But he said, you know what? Those same people are really grateful when I can pick up the bill when we go out. And that's what you're able to do, help more people when you expand and grow to that potential. Because now you can be a philanthropist. You can help in the things that matter to you and help the world be better. Because now you have the resources to do it.
Well, absolutely. And those are, you're stealing the thunder, because those are the questions I ask people. I go, well, why do you want to get rich? Whatever that number means for you, rich means X, whatever it is for you. Well, now you can live a better lifestyle. You can pay for your kids to go to college. You can take a vacation. You don't have to stay at Motel 6. And folks, I want you to know, I have stayed at Motel 6, and I've stayed at the best 5-star hotels all over the world. And I'm just going to tell you right off, in case you haven't stayed at one of those, they're a lot nicer.
They rock.
The food's better. The service is better. The room is nicer. I went to the Bellagio and leased the, you feel like you're leasing it by the time you pay the bill, the presidential suite. And you have your own servants. Mm-hmm. When I called down and I wanted eggs Benedict, it was there in 12 minutes. And I was going, I guess they stole it from somebody else's order, but whatever. I had my own elevators that were hidden, that people in the lobby didn't know where they were. I could go to any restaurant and get the best table, right? I wanted to go to the circus there, and I can tell you what the best seat was. It was the center of the 12th row, because that's the one I got. And you had a limousine that picked me up at the airport and takes me in a hidden entrance, not where the normal people go, to my own lobby to check in. I never even had to interact with anyone unless I wanted to go to the restaurant or to the Cirque or whatever. I'm not a gambler, so that was the fun part. But, they have a private art gallery. I could go to that. And so I can tell you, there's that uplift. And here's the big thing about that. I buy art. I love to have beauty all around me, is that the higher vibration you're living in, and, something that's got marble and, it's just beautiful. It's a higher vibration, right? Luxury around you, whatever that means. Like, I'm looking right now, every week I buy myself, I buy fresh flowers every week, because it raises my vibration. And it's kind of fun, because every week I get different colors or whatever. But a lot of things that people just think of, oh, it's just luxury. Well, it's luxurious to your entire being, and it uplifts you to be in this beautiful surroundings, versus in a Motel 6 where, you feel like you almost have to put on the shoes to go to the bathroom, because you're not sure you want to walk on the cart. I have actually been in those places at an earlier version of my life. And I'm just telling you, that does not uplift you. It pulls you down. Right? So right now, as we get through the pandemic, right, which has been a fun time, if you haven't stayed at a 5-star hotel,
book it. Go
treat yourself and get a drink in the bar, or just sit in the lobby and get all dressed up. That's just a way to stay and experience this higher vibration, because we get into higher consciousness and we bring higher consciousness into our business because we're living in a higher vibration.
Yeah.
This is not woo-woo. This is the reality of how it happens.
Yeah.
And then you get bigger thoughts and bigger visions about what's possible. And now you can build your business on a whole different level.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is so true. I mean, my mentor always says, I want you to be in the backseat of all cars. I want you to live like that. I want you to rent an aircraft or charter an aircraft if you have to go somewhere on business. I want you, if you want to be there, you need to act like you're there, not wait until you get there, because that's not how it works. You live it, you be it, and you breathe it now. But you're going to share all of this on Mindset to Millions. And
actually, we're going to have them come to the masterclass, First Million Masterclass.
The masterclass. And so we want to share that with them. So we have a Bitly set up, and
thank you very much, because I really want you to come. It's 90 minutes, and I'm not going to just give you a training. You are literally going to go through a transformation. You're going to leave that masterclass already at a higher place with practical things that you can do that day to start building your sales and your profits higher.
Wow. And it's going to be, it's going to be something you not want to miss, but I'm going to put it at the bottom. That way they don't have to try to remember it, but we did set it up here. We set up, I thought it would be easy to go bit.ly/mindset to millions, but I'm going to put it in a lower third there right beneath us. So you go right there and connect it. That way people don't have to try to remember it. Remember it right there. Go there. We'll get people set up. You're going to have a fabulous time and expand this year and further to unlimited potential in your business and in your life, because this isn't just whatever hits your business is going to hit your whole life. It is not separate. No,
they live together.
They live together.
Because there's only one wholeness, and that's who we are.
Yeah. And our time here in this body, at least, is quite short. So let's make the best of it and serve the world the best we can. JV Crum III, I just have to thank you again for coming to Savvy Broadcasting. Thank you.
And thank you for having me and for all the good work you're doing on the planet.
You too, JV. God bless. Bye.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.